Hi, I'm Stephen Berlinski, and this is my MSA 698 presentation on apprenticeships and skilled trades development at Big Brown Logistics. To start, why am I doing this research? The reason I'm doing this research is Big Brown Logistics is a Fortune 500 company that handles shipping parcels internationally from individuals to businesses day in and day out. To do this, they rely on a fleet. With that fleet comes fleet maintenance. If that fleet fails them and breaks down, they cannot make the commitments and deliver the packages to their customers on time. So to mitigate this, they use a highly trained workforce of technicians that maintain their vehicles to an exceptional level to ensure nothing breaks down. The reason for the research is there's currently no plan or training pipeline in place for replacing these skilled trades technicians. So when they retire, the current process is just to hire a new one off the street. My research sought to see how an apprenticeship would affect Big Brown Logistics as a source of a training pipeline to prevent a shortage in labor from happening. And to do this, we analyzed it based off the MSA courses we have through CMU. The first way we analyzed this was the organizational behavior aspects. Would a labor program like an apprenticeship benefit existing union management relations and productivity? The thought process was an apprentice comes in, they're productive enough that they reduce the workload of other technicians, and that reduction in workload makes those other technicians happier. With everyone happier, everyone gets along better. What we found was yes, an apprenticeship absolutely would be productive and it absolutely would reduce the workload, but it would not increase organizational behavior that we can confirm. What it found is organizational behavior is an input, whereas the research viewed it as an output. Turns out, based off of literature, happiness is the output, and organizational relations, union management relations, is the input. So workload, relations, those go in to see about happy employees. Happy employees typically are more productive. So unfortunately for the research was skewed and not framed properly enough that we can't confirm if an apprenticeship would increase organizational behavior or union management relations. So further research would be needed to confirm this. The second thing we looked at was the strategic implications of an apprenticeship. Would implementing an apprenticeship affect the firm's strategic goals? We found yes, it would. Big Brown Logistics champions themselves on a promote from within culture. It is one of their ideologies they follow. However, there is no position below vehicle maintenance technician, and there's no growth outside of vehicle maintenance technician. So an apprenticeship would provide a means to hire in at an entry level and promote up. Okay, this would follow the ideologies set forth by Big Brown Logistics. Another huge thing with apprenticeships is the training time required by management. Currently, managers have to train new employees within 2 weeks of arriving. An apprenticeship could stretch that training period out to 2 or 4 years. What this would allow for is much higher quality training over a greater amount of time and less time commitment from the manager. The benefit with this is that allows that manager to be more aligned with the company's strategic goals, which literature supported alignment of strategic goals with success. So less time stolen from the manager, better training, and closer strategic alignment, which has been shown to lead to success. The next thing we explored was the multicultural benefits that could occur with an apprenticeship program at Big Brown Logistics. What we found analyzing the current workforce is only 6.1% of Big Brown Logistics maintenance community in the greater Detroit area was non-white. Uh, Detroit is the primary city in which they operate, and Wayne County is the county of Detroit, is 78% and 38% Black or African American, respectively. So there was a huge disparity between the community they were in and the composition of their own workforce. The firm also has a higher percentage of older individuals. There are more people percentage wise at retirement age that seek to retire in the next year at Big Brown Logistics than there are at retirement age and above in the whole county in which they operate. So an apprenticeship wouldn't directly fix this, but the apprenticeship would reduce barriers to entry for younger or racially diverse individuals. This could be done through, they don't need to buy $30,000 worth of tools right away. You can be an apprentice and come in with $5,000 worth of tools. You don't have to have school trained. You don't have to already have 10 years of experience. You can come in willing to learn. And back to the tool thing, the nice thing with that is the company could also provide a loan program to this apprenticeship in order to help pay for their initial setup of tools. Now, the loan repayment would tie into the next topic, financial, as a method to keep the person invested and staying at the firm even after the completion of their apprenticeship. The last thing I inspected was the financial effects an apprenticeship could have on the firm. Would it be worth it? Does the cost justify the effort? Well, Big Brown Logistics, when compared to other industries, would have a relatively inexpensive apprenticeship program. Another apprenticeship program explored in the Great Britain construction industry said it would cost about $37,000, $38,000. Big Brown Logistics could expect to pay $7,000 to $8,000 for this apprenticeship, so it's significantly cheaper. The issue with this was an issue with my research. I used changing a tire as a comparison. And with that, it was a 2-year span. Initially the apprentice has to be basically babysat by a journeyman mechanic, and then they only have to be kind of watched. And then the journeyman mechanic has to just check in on them, and then the apprentice can do the job by themselves. But the issue with changing a tire is that's a relatively simple task. So changing a tire, you could expect someone to pick up in a couple months. Now, even with that flaw in the research, what was found is I believe there is justification that there is a financial benefit for the firm as far as with an apprenticeship, they can pay someone a lot less and then get just as much work from them. So you can basically have a cheaper labor force while they're training and still get benefits. The only other risk associated with this that the research identified was being poached. Completing your apprenticeship and then another company offering you $2 an hour more and you jumping ship. Now that's where that multiculturalism tool loan thing I previously mentioned comes into play. If you loan someone $5,000 worth of tools, it's an incentive for them to stay after completion of their apprenticeship and not have to pay that all back in one financial sum, in one lump sum. So with quality hiring, there would be only financial benefits to gain through an apprenticeship. This brings me to my analysis and recommendation. Organizational dynamics, I explained it. It was an outliner of the 4 areas because of flaws in the research. We approached it wrong and we learned how not to approach that problem. But the financial benefit would support the strategic goals. Saving money is part of the strategy, so that helps. Financial tools would greatly enable multicultural aspects of research, such as the tool loan program, and the multicultural side would allow a foot in the door opportunity to diversify, which could help strategically. More diverse workforce thinks better. This thinking better can help strengthen the mental capacity of your workforce, which will help you strategically as a manager. So we believe that Big Brown Logistics should pursue an apprenticeship program trial. Give it a year, try it out, gather more information, and go from there. Finally, these are my personal notes on the research I conducted. I was surprised at the disparity of age and racial representation between Big Brown Logistics and the community. Personally, I didn't expect it to be spot on, but I did not expect it to be that drastically different. And I was pleased with how intertwined the different areas, as far as strategic, multicultural, and financial, were, all positively supporting. Organizational behavior was the only outlier, but I feel it would have been right in line with the other 3 had the research been reconducted. And I wish I would have had a better grasp of my research prior to finalizing my main research question. As time went on, I felt myself wanting to work off of a tweaked question, but found that I was constrained by what I had already submitted. So definitely learned a lot. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a good day.